Should you use background music in your hypnosis sessions? That's what we're going to talk about. And we've got Mike Mandel from the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. What do you think about background music in hypnosis sessions?
Let's clarify this. I'd like to talk about this in terms of background music for hypnosis shows and background music for hypnosis sessions for therapy.
Yeah, it could be live sessions or, of course, recorded online audio type sessions.
Right.
So, all right, we'll talk about those three areas, and it'll be a real simple video.
Brilliant. Let's start with hypnosis shows. When I had the space show back in 1978, we had a whole soundtrack that took people on this trip to outer space. And
if this was 2078, you could do it on Mars.
That's good, Chris. One of those things that almost borders on being interesting. So here we are. Obviously, in a stage show, when you have all the pyrotechnics and fiber optics and that I had at the time, music is going to carry it forward. It is necessary to keep it moving with a verbal soundtrack as well. It can be an easy way out, but it can also be a problem on stage. People can learn to depend on their cues for music instead of now interacting with human beings.
Right.
And there's one very famous hypnotist who's no longer with us. And I watched his show, and it was so much of it was just dancing. Okay, now when I click this music, now you'll start ballet dancing. Like when Swan Lake plays, they dance. And then it's now you're dirty dancing. Now you're doing the twist. Now you're tap dancing. And it's just click. It just play that, let them do their thing. Click, play. It is not an interaction with a group of people that I like. So I think it can actually take away from the show. And having done one that was so extreme, where we needed 3 on the road crew and a 2.5 hour to 3 hour setup time, I went to just a guy with a briefcase, a stage and monitors, because it created my own sound effects. I didn't use music at all.
And I preferred that. And if we look at the godfather of stage hypnosis, Michael C. Anthony, then I don't think he uses any music.
If he does,
it's very light. It's set the ambiance or maybe entry music or something like that. But yeah, you don't want the whole show designed around the necessity to keep things in order. Right?
I remember I just liked Extro music.
Yes.
So I would use wind trance sometimes as an intro music.
Yes.
And that would just be playing in the background when people came in. And the Extro music was My Chemical Romance, Desolation Row.
Which we now still use.
Coming out and the organ starts. And good night.
Yes.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
So you can use it to bracket your show, but what about in hypnotherapy, Chris?
Okay.
In person or online?
So in hypnotherapy, I know some people we were just talking in the Facebook group really about how we do this as a fairly low-tech operation. I know that some people will stream music over their Zoom sessions. I have no problem with that. Simple music, low volume. I just figure it's one more thing to freaking manage, and it could go wrong, and I don't think it's necessary. But if you're doing it in person, and I used to do in-person sessions, and I would use wind trance, and I found that to be, it's a very relaxing instrumental. What kind of instrument is like almost a pan flute or something?
Yeah, I think
we're not talking Zamfir or something. No.
God forbid.
We've not mentioned that before.
Pan flute is something I can listen to for like 20 seconds.
Yeah, really just relaxing, soothing music. I think that's nice. It can help when, let's say you're in an office building and maybe there's somebody walking down the hallway or creaks of a staircase. You would be able to utilize that anyway, or incorporate would be the technical word here. Incorporate that into your session if you know basic Ericksonian hypnosis, which we teach, right? But still, you might enjoy the idea of having a nice soothing music playing.
Well, you can use it to fill silence, to fill gaps, and just to keep the momentum going. And you can use it to deepen trance as they listen. The key is, if you're going to use music in any session, there should be no words. We do not want to reactivate the left brain, the left hemisphere.
Right.
We want to keep it right brain, and the more new agey music is really good for this kind of thing. But yeah, online sessions, I can't imagine doing. I would think it's difficult to do well online. You've got to make sure the level is right for them as well.
Know what you're doing. Basically, don't do it if you don't know what you're doing. I don't feel, and I'm a techie geek, I don't feel that I know what I'm doing. I would have to learn how to do this, how to control the volume. If you know how to do that, I have no objection towards it.
Right. Well, don't object to it. But whether or not it's useful is always
it might be.
And there are great recordings that will add atmosphere. I'm a big fan of Comm Radio. Now, not the other company, just called Comm. It's called Comm Radio. It's out of Toronto. I have a lifetime membership to them and have nothing to do with them other than they've got 1,000 channels. It's extremely clear audio. And you can get things like Schumann frequency, the frequency of the earth, this pulsation, which is amazing. But you can layer them. You can put them on top of each other.
So that might be fun for self-hypnosis or in-person sessions. Yeah.
Yes, and great music channels. It's really, really good. I highly recommend Comm Radio. You can get great stations that are all new age background, just floating and relaxing.
I love it.
And of course, when we mentioned Wind Trance already, that I bought from Tad James's organization many years ago when Tad was with us. Great trainer. Great respect for him. And Wind Trance, you know, Chris, having heard it and listened to it, it has this sort of flow.
There's this entry 8 to 12 bars or whatever, and then it goes boom, boom, and you can time your
That's what I did. I used it as an induction when I had the office in the beaches in Toronto on Lake Ontario. It was great. And I would have Wind Trance set up. And a brand new subject, I put a red push pin into a bulletin board across the room. Just stare at that red push pin. That's all you got to do. I've got it above their focal plane. I just listen to it, and I keep looking at it, and I'm listening to timing and sleep now, and boom, and every single one of them goes.
Yeah, you would time your hypnotic pattern.
Yeah,
we're sort of shortcutting
let the music do the work.
And as you stare at that red point, and you can begin to let those eyes start to feel very tired and get ready to, that's right, begin to feel so ready to go into that trance. And you're just waiting for that boom, and you go, now. And it's,
And there's other options like using white noise, pink noise, green noise, brown noise, all these different frequencies mashed all over each other. White noise is great for tinnitus, listening to it, you have the sound of waves or whatever. Comm Radio has all of these as well. So the reason this is so good is when I had a noise generator, a sound generator way before Comm came out, so we're talking mid-90s, late 90s, this was a disc that would sit next to the treatment area where I did the therapy. And one of the sounds was just a rushing white noise. And it very closely replicates the sound of being on a jet plane. So if people had problems, fear of flying, I would always have this playing through the session as I got them calm, and it became anchored to it. So when they hear that sound in the plane, it's calming them automatically, and that's doing it for me.
Okay, do you want to spend a couple of quick moments here on recordings as well?
Like doing your own recordings?
Yeah, just when you're making your own. So I'll just start off this conversation.
Sure, go ahead.
When you're doing hypnosis recordings, if you're going to produce a hypnosis audio, and we'll give you a free one here if you're just listening to this on YouTube and you want to opt in to a free one that has a good example of this, what we recommend is just pick audio, sounds and music, sound effects and music that blend into the narrative of what you're doing. So if you're taking people on guided imagery or whatever, just look for sound effects. I think we got a really good deal through AppSumo years ago for Audio Hero.
Right.
And thousands and thousands of amazing sound effects. You know, doors creaking, choo-choo trains chugging, or whatever.
People standing and waiting.
Really cool. And then you've got your general hypnosis music that you can layer in anyway. So MikeMandelHypnosis.com/castle. We'll put the link in the description of this video, and you can download Journey to the Castle, and you'll hear a really good example of not only guided imagery hypnosis, kind of a dream within a dream. It's really cool. It's inception-based, but also a lot of really cool sound effects, which our editor put in.
And the key is don't throw them in at random. It is designed to manipulate intentionally your mood as you go through this. So there's times of stress, there's time, light stress and the story unfolding and mystery and curiosity, but the music is used to create these different states. And of course, at the end, there has to be triumphant music when you're coming out of it.
Yes, which
people often burst into tears at the end of
that. The one at the end of that, people have asked so many times, what is the music at the end of that? And it's called the Anthem of the Fallen.
Anthem for the Fallen.
Anthem for the Fallen. It's freaking spectacular. I had no involvement in the music selection. You did it all.
Yeah.
Gave it all to our editor, Ross. And it came back and it was like, holy crap. It's an experience. So Journey to the Castle, it's free. If you want more than that, I'll make sure that there's a link to this. I'm sure we'll have reopened the doors by the time this goes live. Our Brain Software Syndicate is an awesome place to go if you want to experience hypnosis for yourself, self-hypnosis, and audios, and of course a lot more. Similar to our podcast, you can join the Brain Software Syndicate and get access to a whole bunch of hypnosis audios that this guy's designed, which is
brilliant.
Awesome. And we'll leave it at that. I think that's probably a good place to wrap up this video. So make sure you check out MikeMandelHypnosis.com. You can join our academy and get started for free. It's awesome. You'll have a lot of fun if you want to learn to do amazing hypnosis. And we will see you in the next video. Thanks once again, and good night.